Hello, I'm Linda, and this is the first in a series of what I'm going to call Linda Book Talks. And I'm an avid reader. I'm sure you are too. And so I would just like to share some ideas about books and maybe get some thoughts from you about that book or other books. But tonight I thought I would review or talk a little bit about a classic, a great classic, James Baldwin's Go Tell It on the Mountain. My gosh, this book is a classic and I think will always be a classic. It has been ranked in the top 100 of books in the 20th century by, I'll have to look up who actually did the ranking, but it was like the New York Times and one other important media. And this book is definitely a classic. Go Tell It on the Mountain. It was published in 1952 and but was set in 1930s Harlem. And of course, James Baldwin, an African-American writer. And the writing in Go Tell It on the Mountain is what we call lush. When we talk about writing, sometimes we talk about lush or lean writing. And this is definitely lush. It has adjectives, it has metaphors, it has descriptive passages. It's just gorgeous writing. I mean, there are lean writers like Ernest Hemingway, for example. You know, short sentences, not very many adjectives, adverbs. It's just, the sentence just states, you know, subject, verb, maybe one modifier. But Baldwin is lush. The descriptive passages of people and places, this book is really rich. So that's one of the reasons you would want to read it. But another is because of the thematic material. One thing that is so interesting, and I think I could talk for an entire hour about this, but I'm not going to. I might come back on and do that at a later time. But one thematic issue is religion and the Bible is woven throughout. And it is really an observation or a study of how religion affects some people's lives, their modus operandi, their actions. And Go Tell It on the Mountain really deals with the situation in which religion is used as a weapon. The father in this book, the father of the protagonist, and the protagonist is John, and his father uses religion as a weapon on everybody. His congregation, his wife, his children, everybody gets the axe and the hammer of his religion. He finds passages in the Bible that can be twisted or turned or interpreted for whatever he wants them to be used for. The book opens with a reference to religion, and let me just read you that first little first sentence or two, just so that you get the idea. It begins this way. Everyone had always said that John would be a preacher when he grew up, just like his father. It had been said so often that John, without even thinking about it, had come to believe it himself. And so from the very get-go, we are looking at a teenage boy who has always been told he will be a preacher. And the whole book, from beginning to end revolves around religion, the interpretation, the uses that this family makes of religion, particularly the father. And yes, I would like to spend more time talking about that one day, but on this, I'm just going to give, an overview of some of the thematic material. There is another theme that runs through it, which is family relationships. Relationships of father to children, mother to children, brother to brother, stepfather to stepchildren, sister to brother. And so it's interesting to see how all of these different relationships play out. The third thematic issue is race relations. Now, the book was published in 1952, but it is set in 1930s Harlem. And we have the opportunity to walk in the shoes of an African-American teenager in Harlem in the 1930s, long before the civil rights movement materialized in the United States. And to have that opportunity to walk in somebody else's shoes, an African-American teenager at that time, is extraordinary. This is what literature should do. It should let us see the world through different eyes, through a different heart, walking in somebody else's shoes. And we certainly have the opportunity to do that in this book. As I've said, it is a classic, and it always will be. And I had read this book years ago in grad school, and I just wanted to go back and read it again. I was at a writers' conference this summer, and I heard one of the speakers do a lecture on this book. And I thought, oh my gosh, I'm hungry to go back and read that book. So I did, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I recommend it to you. This is a classic that if you read for the first time, it will open windows for you. If you go back and read it again, you will be glad that you did. Okay, a couple of comments, and then I'll leave it with that. But comment, we're in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic. And so we've been in a lockdown for about 2 weeks. So today I put on something colorful because I wanted to do this. And I kind of combed my hair a little bit more, put on some lipstick. And so if you're watching this after the pandemic, know that we're all just trying to get past it and get into a new age, a new time, a resurgence of energy. And during this time would be especially good to read, and I recommend Go Tell It on the Mountain. Have a great day, a great evening, and we'll do another Linda's Book Talk soon. Bye-bye, and stay safe.